Just unmute that mic. Yeah.
I remember your name, but it's backwards on your email or something, isn't it? It was wrong or something.
Yes, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Right.
One, two.
Yeah. One of them is crisps, and it's like in that bit in between. I often it's just ideas. Sometimes you just need to sound it out. Little projects. Other than that. That word, my maths words.
Squeeze this way so I don't disturb it.
It's just thousands of variations of Yes. You never know the pressure's on. Oh, right. Yeah, so we're gonna note it and put it's funny. We'll have to. Let me know when you're ready and
They wrote all
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but you can't sit down and
That is how it works. Most people don't have the trials. It's so because you're hunting all the time. That's to learn about stuff and all kind of it's the like yeah. You know how I just I'll come down. Because I share what I get. If I'm in someone who's on a job, when it's my job, I sleep all that really
Put some monitoring. Sounds amazing.
sorry, it's a Nickelodeon show, but it's just like about a girl.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't be, because it's amazing.
I'm like that with Steve's. I don't like that name. Steve's and Norbens.
I don't think it's the fun we're going to think
I think I'm supposed to do a delete.
Just a heads up, folks, we're gonna be starting in another couple minutes. So if you wanna go get some more nibbles or anything, now's the time.
And the line, no, it's in the line. At the rest of the time, we're half. Very far away. Very, very proud. Yeah, played on Thursday, and then he played in a tournament on Friday. I believe he played on Friday. It's 5 several years, so it's fun. I
remember that wasn't that old at that point, but you would say, get the real ball. And Government's going, Dad, pass me your ball, pass me your ball. And there was a couple of the rugby ball, and I was just there like, guys, what are you on about?
now choosing the rugby ball with no pressure from this. Rugby ball for football.
He's never saying it sounds like it's not. It wasn't.
it was like a comedy cartoon.
Yes, the comedy cartoon smash voice. Why did you go to
Because that's the hardest part.
Welcome everyone. I'm Becky, Director here at Manchester Poetry Library, and we're completely delighted to finally welcome InDivisible into the world with Commonword. Just a word about the library. I think Some of you were here when Cheryl let you know that the toilets are just outside on the right-hand side. And we don't expect a fire alarm if there is one, it's just out the main entrance that you came in and just come again across the road there. Some of you I recognise that you might have been here before. We're a year and a bit old. We've got a starting collection of about 15,000 books and records. The space looks very different during the day with lots more shelving, and at the moment we have an incredible exhibition called Questioning the Form, and an in-person, in conversation tomorrow with Gloria, who's with us for the event this evening. Just to say, we're a public poetry library, so we're based here at Manchester Met. Students use the library, but you can become a member and it's free, and you can take up to 10 books and keep them for quite a long time, we discovered the other day. If nobody else wants it, you can keep it for quite a long time. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Cheryl Martin, who is the co-artistic director of Commonword. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. That was Becky Swain, who runs the lovely poetry library and is our host for the evening. I'm co-artistic director of Commonword. My fellow co-artistic director, Pete, is right there if you raise your hand. And Pete was the one who brought InDivisible back over the line and finally got it actually published. We've had 3 or 4 editors on this, and the originals, they all left during lockdown. So that's why you've been waiting for this one. But it's worth the wait, everybody. And so without me talking a lot more, I just want to thank the writers again for their patience and thank them in advance for the wonderful readings. This thing is falling. For the wonderful readings tonight. And we are a little bit tight for time, so I'm just going to introduce people by saying the first line of their lovely full bios, which are in the back of the book, which of course is available to buy. And welcome everyone, and let's get started. Our first reader is Kath Nichols. Kath Nichols is a former journalist for Diva, Gay Times, The Pink Paper, and radio broadcaster whose most recent poetry collection is This Is Not a Stunt, 2017 Valley Press. And without further ado, let's welcome Kath Nichols.
That's about right, isn't it? Can you hear me at the back?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Those of you who are observant may have seen that I use a wheelchair. And I thought, I'm coming to this invisible disabilities type event, and actually I'm visibly disabled when I use the wheelchair. But I do stand up and I do walk, but I mostly do it at home. And the chair supports me because I really don't have stamina and I have quite a lot of chronic pain. This poem, as Cheryl was saying, it was written such a long time ago. And it's about running. But I wanted to convey how strange and surreal the experience was, because when it happened, I realised that my body wasn't working like it had done for so many years, and I felt it was almost like an out-of-body thing. My way of expressing that was to think of it as being like a character in a comic book that kind of flattened out and everything black and white. So this is the poem, Comic Run. A marathon runner hitting the wall is a good metaphor for a number of things. Distance covered, endurance put in, what you think you're good at, all coming to nothing. Or coming to something, but not the thing you dreamt about, not a win. The last time I ran, I left a friend to jog, walk, jog, walk, jog back to the station. I was already late, and if I failed to board this train, the next one was more than an hour away. I put one foot in front of the other, tucked in my arms to accelerate. But the pavement rammed my hips, my shoulders struck my heels, the sky came down and the road rose up, and I was slammed back and forth between vicious horizontals, flattened and stretched repeatedly. Soon I was scribbling my form across a darkening city. My legs scraped jagged lines down Water Street. My wrists scorched neon flares over bars and restaurants. Why were my legs so full of bricks and everything peripheral now black and white? Was I a lost soul in a comic book destined for doom? I missed the train, died, came back again, found that walking with ease had left me. Something inside that is hard and weak and true. Then I died a second death, a black hole like the one that follows a night on Speed or E, an absence so deep, joy and hope implode. Not a load produced by conscious thought, the race unfinished, a distance not run, but a chemical sum of glycogen burnt, pages and pages of pain. A watermark lies inside me now, invisible, permanent. The city, diagonal and sharp, tears the pavement from under me. Dark matter whirls in each doorway, making me gutter, making a graphic bleed that might run and run and run.
Thank you so much, Kath, for that beautiful beginning. I am supposed to give trigger warnings, and I forgot to give it for that one, which was, the trigger warning was for drugs and injury, but that doesn't describe like the beauty of what you were just saying. So thank you very much for getting us started so well. Our next reader, oh, and Kath is she, they. I'm really doing badly tonight. It's like, you think you're not gonna be nervous after all these years, but I am still nervous. And thank you for your patience again. So Kath Nichols is she, they. And our next reader is Najma Hush. And she's gonna be reading Romancing the Stone and a trigger warning for rape. So if you do feel overwhelmed or very upset by anything you hear, because these are people who are bearing their souls and telling the truth about their lives, and the truth is sometimes a bit difficult. But if you feel that things are getting difficult for you, just go to the back. You can go outside. There are lots of places to sit down and have a moment. But let's welcome Najma Hush. She's coming up. I am doing very badly. I am the worst compère in the world. Najma Hush is a teacher, poet, and photographer. We all juggle a lot of balls, and Najma Hush is no exception, except that she likes to call herself a poetographer. I'll leave you with that.
Hi, everybody. Thanks a lot for coming out tonight. And thank you very much to Culture Word for organising such a marvellous event. I feel really honoured to be part of this anthology and to be here with you tonight. So my name's Najma, and I've come all the way from Birmingham tonight to read you this poem. And my poem is about a place where I was brought up. Can I put this down a bit? It feels a bit... sorry, it feels a bit to the face. Thanks. Yeah, so it's about a place I grew up in Birmingham, and the place is called Allen Rock. And I have a lot of fond memories of my childhood in this place. However, the poem is about, it's taking off the rose-tinted glasses that you have of your childhood and examining things and looking at the hard facts. So the place I was brought up is called Allen Rock, so hence the title, Romancing the Stone. So here's my poem. He'd invested kindly in a gem of a rock, established our school, donated that park, built rows of those houses for the working class, before the go-karts, cash and carry, fast-tinted cars, casually organised along this industrial full stop. His train tracks still run behind our factories and shops, in our cauldron of foreigners, blue sniffers and gangs. We've even got enough room for the jippos to camp, till the council's had enough, tells them to move on. We don't have the space for any Irish or Romanians, though we do. For all the landowners have left derelict. The view from every window in our flat is unique. Suspicion falls no further jagged edge of our street, smashing through adventures of Alice's looking glass. Though no curtains dare twitch when a cabbie pulls up to slice up a dispute with an unpaid prostitute, whilst my mother still insists we've never had it so good. Well, thank God the dead can't hurt you for a frolic in their yard. St. Saviour's Cemetery's safer than Adderley's Park, with its emerald green tombstones from 1841. It's a labyrinth unearthing. Where have all the white folk gone? Although there was one little girl who lived on our estate, blonde hair, blue eyes, she was raped. Wolfed by a pack in the park, 9 years of age. Some blamed her parents, said it was a shame, for who lets their daughters play out after 9 p.m? When everybody knows what a dirty world it is, some just accept grown men like to do it with kids. No salacious saliva nor snarling moustaches, yet we slide down the periphery of their stifling snide. They like girls like us, like to make us feel attractive. Snakes know where desperation lives when searching at the gates of schools and council housing, but they can't catch those who run harder than impoverishment, nor groom us faster than our television screens, because God bless the child that's got Channel 4. And Cary Grant for enriching our lexical dialect, for of all the things the media finds least romantic, it's our bleeding Mirgle, at the heart of England, blended with a few blacks and whites who struggle with the native language.
Thank you, Marcia. A hard-hitting look at a little bit of our country. Our next reader is Angie Holden. Angie Holden is a retired lecturer whose widely published work includes adult and children's poetry, short stories, and flash fiction. And Angie goes by she, her, and her poem is Not Quite Silence.
My poem's actually a monologue. Kate, 42, is sitting in a chair with a cup of coffee. Back then, I couldn't hear. Back then, I could hear. I mean, really hear. Ironic, isn't it? How I loved the idea of silence. You know how sometimes you can pinpoint a moment of utter quiet? No distant engines, no bickering children, no dog whining 2 floors down, not even the chip-chip of a territorial blackbird. Glorious, isn't it? Even then it's not absolute. If you listen, you'll hear the hum of a fridge or a computer left on standby. Do you remember our moonlit clamber up that Welsh hillside? The night so thick and dark and chill, and the not quite silence settling around us when we rested. Our head torches switched off and our breathing gradually slowing. A few sheep grazed nearby, but it was too late in the season for the mournful bleat of lost lambs. We strained to hear the rustle of small creatures in the bracken and the wing beats of the hunting owl that circled the crest. It was my nearest experience of silence. How long after that did my hearing fail? A month or 2? 3 at the most. It wasn't a progressive thing like some old lady losing muscle tone, or that ancient cortina growing ever more sluggish. No, this was digital failure, consistent with our electronic age, the burnt out resistor, the burnt fuse. One moment it works, the next it doesn't. One night I could hear, the next morning I was partially deaf, or rather totally deaf in one ear. Of course, becoming single-sided deaf isn't on the same scale as becoming wholly deaf, but still it's isolating. I can't follow conversations. In a busy room with the sound levels rising, I tire quickly and zone out. I meet friends for lunch, but gossip from the left of the table remains a mystery. Next time we meet, they either assume I've forgotten their stories and are offended by my disinterest. And I can't locate sounds. Where are you? I can hear you calling, but your voice always comes from my right. Alongside the silence, there's a noise. Have I told you about that? Meet tinnitus, my constant companion. The audiologist explained it was a perception of sound within the ear in the absence of real sound. She showed me a diagram how messages from the sensory hairs in the inner ear fail to reach the hearing centre of the brain, so it simply turns up the automatic gain. Just like us, straining to hear those hillside rustles all those years ago. The name comes from the Latin for bell. Quaint, but misleading. Don't think of tinnitus as a tuned instrument. It's no Indonesian gamelan. This is white noise coming at you in a constant feedback loop. Kate puts down the cup on the table and pushes it aside. She adopts a reflective tone. Sometimes, when I lay awake, trying to distinguish the gentle shifts of the night house from the incessant rumblings of my oral corridors, I remember that witch last night. I remember the ink darkness, our breath steaming and irregular, and around us, that cloak of not quite silence.
Thank you for that beautiful monologue. Not quite silence. And our next reader is Jo Leelock. Jo Leelock is the Membership Administrator and Associate Facilitator for LGBTQ+ Writing Network Out on the Page, and her passion for writing was rekindled at the age of 40, when as a volunteer radio producer for Gadio, she began by writing program briefs. So welcome, Jo.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what my piece is. You'll find out at the end. So, okay, so it's called The Visitor. Looking back, I realised that my door was always ajar. My love of heavy metal from the age of 70. The 90s was a decade of raving. Founding clubs with the LGBT community, my community. You would drop by in the early hours each Saturday and Sunday and gone by lunchtime. In my late 20s, the clubbing stopped. You and I parted ways. I turned 40 and you moved in permanently. During your absence, I know you spent time with others. I first saw your name in the papers in connection with the death of the Inspiral Carpets drummer. Then again, when a mother of two died from a cocaine overdose, whilst trying to self-medicate to alleviate the discomfort caused by you. What were your motivations for returning to me? In a bid to second-guess your reasons, I turned to Google. Did I have a brain tumour? Had you returned to keep vigil by my bedside, a companion through my darkest hours? Would my world become smaller until only you remained? Wherever I went, you would follow. You were jealous and possessive. You had to be the one who shouted loudest. The constant competition between you on the inside and everything on the outside took its toll. My thoughts crowded, head swimming. I felt out of control, anxious. Constantly distracted, struggling to hear my own voice. It was hard to string a sentence together. The silence of night was unbearable. Your voice amplified. I lay there trying to switch off from you, waiting, hoping that sleep would come. Do you not sleep like the rest of us? With the constant pauses in my speech and vagueness due to sheer exhaustion, I felt that I was often mistaken for a drunk. I was met with impatience from others who waited for my words to come out. I was once the life and soul of every gathering. You moved in and I withdrew. Exhausted, I wandered around in wasteland, searching for solutions. All my cries for help went unheeded. No one understood what it was like living with you. Then finally, somebody understood. They taught me how to fight sound with sound. Finally, I knew how to turn the dial and tune out of your frequency. My nights are now filled with podcasts, horizons broadened, creativity fueled by Japanese architects building towers of crisps and hidden economies of honey. Then joy of joys, the once elusive Mistress Sleep now graces me with her presence. Dawn arrives. I am fulfilled with sleep and new knowledge. You are the hidden enemy who has driven some to their deaths and debilitated countless others. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Be vigilant. Look out for visitors named tinnitus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. And our next, I do have to just plow ahead because I want to make sure everybody gets their full time before security comes to turf us out of here. Our next writer is Mandla. And Mandla is a queer Zimbabwean writer, performer, and curator. Mandla is agender and uses names in place of pronouns. Welcome, Mandla.
Thank you very much for personal solidarity. My name is Mandla, and this poem is called Zimbabwe. After the country where I was born, but when I wrote it, I was thinking about my mum. It was really lovely to edit it with Charlotte Maxwell, who's getting to poet voice now. Zimbabwe. Your screams are heard on the moon. You are the corpses of stars, more than each diamond ripped from earth. I once intended to amount to nothing, but you refused. You talked about reclaiming a sense of self from stolen land, inhaled a breath of contaminated air, man-made. You tear yourself out of your skin. You will be remembered as a desperation, a longing. Stitch me into your bones. You have forgiven too much. Teach me sainthood, Wena, who is so deliberate, Wena, who weaved earth and blood into mountains and monuments, Wena. the embodiment of reincarnation. Zimbabwe, your son is weeping. Where have ye fled when children scream your name and tongues buried amongst your ancestry to conceal a state of emergency, claiming your wounds as the spoils? The evolution of mischievous man is burning you alive. Zimbabwe, your bones will rise again. Thank you.
Thank you, Nanda. I hope people do buy the book so that you can go back and actually sort of enjoy all those images that you're hearing tonight, sort of at your leisure. Our next, okay, you didn't hear anything I said, that's probably just as well. Okay, our next reader is Mary Edwards. Mary Edwards, Mary Edwards is a former children's bookseller and primary teacher. She's a writer based in Macclesfield, Cheshire, interested in all forms of writing, and is learning that an idea will often choose its own form. So welcome, Mary.
Usually people think I'm quite short, so not that I would mind that. I also just want to say that in reference to what I'm about to read, this room is the perfect temperature. That's really nice for me. This is a monologue. Eddie, a woman in her 30s, sits in a cafe with a cup of tea and reflects on how a combination of hypermobility and chronic lateness has affected her life. Eddie. The girl who takes off all her clothes. That's what the other first-year English students called me, and not for the reasons you might expect. The main reason was I was always late. I was late because I rolled out of bed at the exact time the lecture started, and my halls were on the other side of the campus. Because I was late, I'd been running. Running with hypermobility isn't elegant, nor is it enjoyable. Worse still, it makes you hot. And being hot and hypermobile is a lot less fun than it sounds. Your temperature rises rapidly, your blood vessels expand too quickly, and unless you cool down immediately, you end up in a queasy, sweaty heap on the floor. Which is why, from the moment I burst in, semi-delirious behind the lecturer, I would start to remove my clothing. There's always a fair bit to remove because I get cold quickly too. For the record, this isn't much fun either. It means constant chilblains and painful fingers and collapsing in a queue for the ski lift when I was 14. Although on the plus side, being thrown onto the back of a jet ski by a French nurse called Raphael was the most exciting thing that happened to me for a very long time. Anyway, this was my Friday morning routine throughout the first term, performed in front of 300 strangers, all seated in ascending rows for maximum visual impact. 1. Stagger into the lecture hall feeling like I'd just set myself on fire. 2. Stumble towards the one vacant seat, trying desperately and often unsuccessfully not to trip myself up. 3. Shed as many layers of clothing as I could before my feet exploded. They never have, but the fear is real. 4. Stop short of removing my vest and jeans because sitting there in my underwear might prove distracting for the other students, all of whom appear enviably capable of tolerating changes in body temperature and arriving at places on time. I didn't mind the nickname really because the person I heard it from assured me that watching me take my clothes off was the highlight of his week, and he was rather lovely. But as a description, it was incomplete because the moment I got settled with working biro, borrowed usually because I'm a person who repels pens and indeed any items of real use, my pockets contain shriveled acorns and bits of litter I'd picked up and forgotten about. My temperature would then plummet and I'd be compelled to repeat the entire strip show in reverse. The more accurate name might have been the girl who comes in late, takes off nearly all her clothes, asks to borrow a pen, puts all her clothes back on again, and spends the rest of the lecture fidgeting. But it lacks the same salacious hint and wouldn't have worked as well as the title.
Thank you. That is a delightful piece, and it's really wonderful to hear that again. Our next reader is Becky Cherriman, whose pronouns are she, her, and I didn't say my own pronouns, which are also she, her. And there are trigger warnings for graphic descriptions of body and blood for her piece, Making an Exhibition of Myself. And just to read you a little bit about Becky, and this is a little bit, again, I hope you get the book so that you get to see all the wonderful things all these people have done. Becky Cherriman is a Yorkshire writer, workshop leader, and performer. So come on up, Becky.
Hi, it's wonderful to be part of this long-awaited anthology, and the cover's great, so thank you to everybody who's been involved. This is Making an Exhibition of Myself, and I wrote it in 2017 after visiting the RWA in Bristol for an exhibition about Angela Carter, and it was artworks that were either inspired by Carter's work or influenced by her work. And she's one of my favourite writers. And as any of you know who know Carter will know or expect, a lot of the work was quite surreal, and there were lots of bodies in there. There were lots of animals and trees, and especially birds. In the exhibition, my throat is bloodied, my vulva dripping. An abscess graces my left thigh, and the bruise beneath is knotted rope. This is not supposed to be easy to look at. There shall be no apology. Encoded in everything physical is its beginning. In the oak chair, the wood it was cut from. A tree grows from my head, although as in a dream it does not look like my head. The tree is swaddled by a cord. I am learning to rip through it, to let loose the ravens and all the unlikely birds. Feathered with these places that raised and abrased us, women have been beaking worms for too long.
I'm so loving the imagery and everything that people are bringing. I'm so proud of all our writers, and I'm so glad that we are the ones who published this. It's really beautiful writing, and I really thank you all. Our next, just to say a little bit more about the anthology, InDivisible, it's by writers with invisible disabilities, and as a writer who also has an invisible disability, often, you have people talking about you, talking for you, talking down to you, making expectations, all sorts of things. And this is us talking about ourselves the way that we want to. So just again, hopefully you will buy the anthology. I'm going to say now that we're going to pause the live stream for people who are watching it on live stream before we move on to our next writer, who is Steve Coleman, pronouns he, him, and there are references to mental health in his work. So come on up, Steve.
Actually, yeah, thanks. Thanks, everyone. I'm Steve Coleman. I've lived with anxiety and depression for about 20 years now. This was written after a really difficult period in my life several years ago. I did get better, but recently events in my life have caused this to be true again recently. I won't go into that right now, but hopefully some of you will relate to it, even if not enjoy it, if you see what I mean. So, pain, it's all I can feel anymore. My body just feels like it's been through a war. I wake up aching and stagger to my feet. It's hard to keep my balance, my legs feel weak. Some days it barely hurts, others are agony. When will this pain die down? When will I be free? Pain in my body, pain in my life, pain in my head, stabbing like a knife. I go through life with a constant mental frown. No matter what I say or do, my brain just won't shut down. I keep thinking crazy thoughts, they won't leave me alone. I fight against my inner voice at play, at work, at home. Have I offended someone? Did I say that right? What did they mean? It's a constant mental fight. Pain in my body, pain in my head, pain in my life, each day full of dread. It's 1,000 tiny daggers stabbing in my brain. I feel mental agony and screaming muscle pain. Flashbacks to life events cause me to wince. Even if they're happy, I can't help but flinch. Stress in the workplace, tension in the home, fear of calling friends by email, text or phone. Pain in my life, pain in my head, pain in my body that isn't cured by meds. It's a constant battle with demons in my mind. Mental exhaustion, no relief can I find. Though even in my darkest times, at my lowest trough, things just might improve if I believe enough. I really don't want to live all my life in fear. I have to believe that the pain will disappear.
Thank you so much, Steve. I forgot to say that Steve has loved books since he was very young, which led in part to him becoming a qualified librarian, and he's been reading and writing for fun since he was in his teens, mainly fantasy and science fiction, and a wonderful poem that we have for InDivisible. I think we're going to have a little bit of a break now, believe it or not, where you can, get some wine, get some stuff, get some, chewy things back there, and buy a book. And just to say that I think it's Andrew Brooks is doing our live stream. So a hand for Andrew. And it's been Roma, he works for the Poetry Library, and Roma also works for the Poetry Library, who's helping our writers. And there will be more thanks later on. Thank you.
Hey, baby, are you sure? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
What time is it now? We'll be back around 8 o'clock.
Yeah, sure.
It's only 22.
5 to 8.
Yeah.
Right, I'm happy to be, just stop doing this. I just Yes. Ellen Dixon is now reading their poem. Oh, okay. So, just need to make sure I'm aware of that so that I can introduce Ellen. Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. You said all of those words. That's even like I'll see it right when you come down.
Yeah, no problem. I was there. Maybe I should. I was just like.
Hello, folks. Just to say that we're planning to start in about 5 minutes, 4 minutes really. Okay, so you might want to drift back to your seat.
4 minutes. Very good at keeping time. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, I like it.
How are we doing? How far have you got the camera? How does the camera work?
It's just a very basic webcam.
All right, see, that's your plan. That's exactly how the camera on my PC is attached, with a bit of black gap.
Perfect. Like a Heath Robinson. That's what we
Good luck.
yeah.
Okay, come on, folks. Drift back. Drift back into your seats. Come on. You know, I'm ridiculous. I'm making an idiot of myself tonight anyway. I might as well keep on. Come on back. Come on back. Hi, Gloria. Are you staying? No. Okay. I'm just going to wait for everybody to sit back down. So, Andrew, you can have the live stream back on. Yeah. So, just want to say welcome to everybody who's watching us on the live stream. We do have an online audience tonight, and we really appreciate your joining us for our special launch of InDivisible. And now, for our first reader for this half, we're going to have Porcelain Delaney. And if you hold on a second, Porcelain is she, her, and I will find Porcelain's information. Right. Porcelain Delaney is an Irish performer, writer, based in Salford. While working as a performing artist, Porcelain grew frustrated at the lack of characters and stories that reflected her and those around her, so she started writing to share what she calls lesser told narratives. So let's have, and is there a trigger warning? Am I missing a trigger warning here? Porcelain. No, no trigger warning. So let's have a hand for Porcelain.
But aren't you a dancer? But aren't you a dancer? This question is etched into the flesh of my brain. Echoes from everyone spouting this sentence haunt my every step. Doctors and nurses release it with extra bite. I cry in the hospital bed. I can't take this anymore. An eye roll, a raise of the eyebrow, a slight shake of the head. But aren't you a dancer? I can dance, but I can't live. I'm dismissed again. I spend every second of my life in pain. This prescription morphine, my only flotation device in this black sea of agony, steals my functions, my abilities, leave me with nothing but sitting and dribbling. I struggle to leave the house, but I fight with every ounce of my strength to keep my job. When it's time for work, I swallow the numbing liquid that steals my mind. I paint on layer and layer of war paint until my smile becomes unbreakable, my real face no longer traceable. I hope one day the facade will be thick enough to hold all my broken bits together. I stand on that stage seeing nothing through the fog, feeling nothing but the fire tearing through me with every movement. A painted smile so thick it can't fade, lashes so long no one can see there's nothing left behind them. And I dance. I dance for my rent, for my independence, for my purpose. Still, that means I'm fine, right? I'm blessed to be on that great platform where the show must go on. The audience claps, but all I hear is, "But aren't you a dancer?" Another day on the floor, screaming in pain. I should have gone to the studio to train this morning. I haven't managed to get dressed yet. Now I should be with my best friend, celebrating her birthday. Her birthday was last week, but I was so broken by the time I dragged myself out the stage door, I couldn't stay. We arranged another celebration so I didn't have to miss out, as I always did. I picked my dress last week. It's on the hanger over there, swaying in the breeze, its sequins glaring light into my weary eyes. The vegan birthday cake that took several attempts in the whole of my last day off to make sits in the dark freezer, unfulfilled, bringing no joy. I'm hungry, but the relentless suffering pins me to the floor. I know I want to get to be with my friend today, but if I could just make it to the sofa. The harder I fight to move, the tighter the shackles grip me. So I lay as still as I can, begging to be released. Swallow the liquid burglar, hand over possession of my body and brain, force on the mask of the glamorous smile, pushing and pulling in my face where it no longer fits. When the curtain falls, so do I. The audience whisper, "You're so lucky, you must live a charmed life." I live no life. Aren't you a dancer?
Thank you, Kirsten, for that honesty and that rawness. Really, really beautiful writing. Thank you so much. Our next reader is Rachel Burns. And she's going to read two pieces. One is called Black Butterflies, which is in here, and the other one is called Body. And Rachel Burns lives on the outskirts of Durham, England, and her debut poetry pamphlet, A Girl in a Blue Dress, is published by Vain Women Press. So let's have a hand for Rachel.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here at Manchester Poetry Library. I love libraries, and especially love poetry libraries, so I'm kind of in my element. I've really enjoyed all the reading so far as well. Really powerful stuff. Black butterflies. June and the black butterflies are hatching from their chrysalids. We watch them play a tune on a blade of grass. Black flies thicken the air. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. The children sing to the baby, push the old pram with the squeaky wheel up and down the shore. The baby is screaming, snot and tears. We sit on the newly washed porch step. It stinks of bleach. The children play leapfrog, hopscotch, Chinese whispers. Words fall from his mouth like broken teeth. And the next poem's about invisible illness. And it's after Julia Webb, spilling. Body. Body, you are a broken temple. Body, if you were a horse, they'd send you to the knacker's yard, turn your bones into glue. No, scratch that. Body, you are body standing under the temple, waiting for the sky to fall. Body, you are human leukocyte antigen B27 positive. Body on the track. Body is a car crash. Body crouched on the starting line, waiting for the firing pistol. Body, you are a gun to my head, a game of Russian roulette. Click, click, whir. See how you run, run, rabbit, run. Body, you are a broken record, a needle stuck on behind blue eyes. Nobody knows what it's like. Body, you are a list of autoimmune problems, as long as my arm. No, longer than that. Body, you are a mistake after mistake, a blood-sucking parasite. Body, I love you, but I can't live like this. Body, 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 I'm through.
All I can say is, wow. It's like I've read all these, but it's such a different thing to hear them and to hear, the voice and the power going into them. So again, thank you to everybody for the wonderful work that you've done. Our next reader is Alice Evans, and Alice is a neurodivergent artist who spent her early life in the rural depths of the West Country, which had a deep and lasting effect on her poetry and art. And now she lives with us in the Northwest. So welcome, Alice Evans.
Thank you so much. I'm actually not going to talk much about things, but I'm going to read a poem called Whale. Whale. A beached baleen smashes on shore rock, like the piano you owned and kept with 3 missing notes. 2 thuds, heavy leaden chords struck by a child playing on the beach with driftwood on the whale's bulk. And so your name returns to me like violence, licking loosened fingers to strike each page of notes arched like slowly breaking waves on the 5-lined manuscript. A bass note strikes. Open-mouthed, naked and kissing the shore with salted tongue, lost among rock-fast ships. Over the sand, water murmurs and spits out shale. The brackish breath absorbs my weight like ground bones. Oceans between us fall to silence. They put out a light like spit on singed fingers. Thank you.
Again, all of that beautiful, beautiful imagery. So just imagine all these images you're going to leave this place with tonight. So thank you again. Our next reader is Kofi Gyamfi, pronouns he, they. And Kofi is a writer-performer from Moss Side, Manchester, who started as an Insta poet way back in 2016. So let's welcome Kofi.
Do as you wish. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Do as you wish. If it ain't blue, red, or white, they won't touch it. They think falafel's an illness and jerk rice is legit. But their preference will always be fish fingers. It's the taste of home. They won't stray into certain areas of the city, because Wagwan and Wallahi are considered threats. Brown equals thief, when theft is emblazoned on their coat of arms. We Brits can look after ourselves, they say, while ordering dal and dusty. Blame the Browns, 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 blame the Browns for anything you can think of. Ignorance in ink, tabloids scribed and printed about Britain's princess. smushed in blue blood. A nationalist waves a flag, not having a clue what it means. He waves on, there's no cure. British independence, abolishing EU laws, implementing US healthcare, modelling our leader after an Oompa Loompa in the White House. And me, looking to get a flight out, jump in a glass elevator. This land will not be my life sentence, but you can do what you wish. There's one thing I forgot to mention. Thank you for your votes. The NHS is now soon to be a relic. Thank you.
Well, that doesn't come true, but thank you, Kofi, for that wonderful, really fun thing to hear. Thank you so much. So our next poet couldn't be with us tonight, but I hope is on the live stream watching, Nick Maynard. Nick Maynard, he, him, is going to be read by Radhika, who is our marketing and engagement coordinator. And Nick is a queer writer and artist living and working in Manchester, who's had his poetry performed at the Bolton Octagon as part of their Best of Bolton Festival, and had readings done at the iconic Central Library in Manchester as part of Word Central. And now here at the Manchester Poetry Library as part of the InDivisible launch. And I'd like you to give a hand for Radhika, because Radhika actually, with Becky and Roma and other people here at the Poetry Library, put together this launch. So welcome Radhika, reading Nick Maynard.
The Dips. Frustration, castration, my mouth is dry, my palms are wet, held in a straitjacket, fighting to get out. I kick and writhe and bite off my tongue to stop the words coming out or going in, the jumbled, tumbled pictures of fragmented dyslexicons, of fractured fractals of nouns and conjunctives, assumptions that you can do without, that you can do and I can do without. The gift of a fucked up mind, all light and colour, of a billion connections, each one unique, patterns and possibilities. The other from another cerebral motherfucker, brother to brother, the lazy dog fucked the sleeping cat. Cat. No matter what, I remember it all. Every pictorial, every pectoral, every gesture, every lie that held me back and broke me, poked me, bullied and provoked me. Words on a lexicon, virtual code, decode, encrypted, encoded, DNA. Unique to me, scrambled every time for this to me and back again. Lost and found, no place like home and away. A theme tune linked to words I say and see and do, lots and lots for us to do, you and me and you. And now the words I hated, so eat me so. I write and let others read. You are lost, not me. I am found.
Thank you. Incredibly well read by Radhika. And Shauna, who's standing there with Radhika, also helped to put this together. So give Shauna, who is our intern, a hand. And just to say, I forgot to warn you about swearing in that one. I don't know if you noticed. Okay. Our next reader is a stalwart of the Manchester poetry scene, Tina Tamsho-Thomas, pronoun she, her. And Tina, Someone is Missing Me, acclaimed poetry collection available, fly on the wall press. These poems are a two-way mirror to uncomfortable truths about society and the poet telling those truths. So welcome, Tina Tamsho-Thomas.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to Cheryl Martin and Peter Camus for the publication and everybody else who's worked on that. And to Becky Swain and Martin Kratz, who's not well today, but thank you to them for putting on another wonderful event here.
the wedding rings. Well, it's crying time again, you're gonna leave me. I can see that faraway look in your eyes. I can tell by the way you hold me, darling, yeah, that it won't be long before it's crying time. The radio prattles. A car veered off the M60 earlier today and hasn't been seen since. Catherine opens her eyes. The driver's door hangs open. Jonathan's nowhere to be seen. Head in hand, she stumbles out. Desolate landscape, unfamiliar landmarks, useless signposts. She crawls into the back seat. A gold wedding ring on her left hand catches the unclasped seat belt. She twists off the ring and sees two intertwined names inscribed inside. Pealing church bells, fluttering confetti, joyful wedding breakfast, gifts stacked in the boot of their Volkswagen Beetle. The radio prattles. A man was found in a hotel honeymoon suite earlier, suffering from amnesia. He wears a gold wedding ring, inscribed with two names, Catherine and Jonathan. Thank you. Thank you, Tina, and thank you for that lovely song to start everything off. Our next writer is Kathy France, pronouns she, her, and there aren't any trigger warnings that I say this time, so I won't be forgetting them. And just to tell you a little bit about Kathy, she studied drama and theatre at Royal Holloway, University of London from 2013 to 2016, and then went on at Royal Holloway and did an MA in playwriting and was taught by a very famous playwright named April de Angelis. So let's have a hand for Kathy.
Okay, thank you. So, other than the character being vegetarian, this story, this monologue is fictional. I'm home alone and I'm so pregnant right now. Though tomorrow, I might not be pregnant. If I'm not pregnant, I'll probably have my cereal tomorrow morning. Do I have to have cereal? I could have porridge or a croissant. Which breakfast is most worthy of an Instagram photo? What is the best filter for a bowl of porridge? I like porridge when I put chocolate spread in it. Isn't it just the best? I mean, porridge is just slop. It's like the rice and beans the campmates get and I'm a celebrity. But when you put chocolate spread in it, then it's a luxury. Yummy. But when you take a photo of it, the porridge looks like mud, or worse. It's not Insta-worthy. When I say porridge on people's Instagrams, people as in those who have 50k followers, they don't put chocolate spread in it. They put blueberries on top. And it just looks so pretty. Maybe I should put blueberries in my porridge. I'll feel healthier. I'll still put chocolate spread in it for death though. You know what else is an Insta-worthy breakfast? Croissants. I see them on my feed. They've got thousands of likes, especially when the photo is captioned in French. Je mange un croissant. Why am I even talking about food when I just want to throw up? Actually, we have hardly any food in the house anyway. Mum and Dad are doing their weekly shop tomorrow. So yeah, the fact we have hardly any food in the house is why I've chosen to eat this massive cake. To think a whole cake is in my stomach right now. It was a beautiful cake. It baffles me how she made the Statue of Liberty out of icing. It was delicious too. Imagine the Statue of Liberty in my stomach. I wish I could have the skill to bake or to cook. If I could cook, I would have been able to have the pepperoni pizza instead. But I'm too scared to use the oven. Like, how do I switch it on? How do I switch it off? Have I switched it off? Will I die from carbon monoxide poisoning if I use the oven? Well, other than the pizza, there is a block of cheese. I could have made myself a cheese sandwich, but the bread is now mouldy. If only that bitch Kim were having her shift, I would have gone to the nearby shop and bought some food. Yep, she's sitting miserably behind the counter reading a TV mag. No way am I seeing her. You know, I always walk the long route to and from town just so I don't pass that shop. I don't care if it rains or if there's a thunderstorm or a hurricane or a tornado, I am not passing that shop. The nearest shop after that is too far to walk and I can't drive. Before I was pregnant, I was a skeleton. I could easily make tunes at my ribcage like a xylophone. I'm also vegetarian, and I would have been willing to give that up for the pepperoni pizza, but today's actually my 1 year anniversary of being a veggie, so I shouldn't break it. If it was 2 weeks ago, I might have done, but no. The only thing left in the kitchen was that cake. How it stood there so beautifully. I was thinking, it's better off in my tummy. In 2 days' time, my sister will be taking part in the annual cake competition in the town. The theme's America, by the way. I feel so bad, but then again, I'm sick of her being in the limelight. And the only way she's going to win is if she has the capability of doing an operation to take it out from me. Thank you.
Thank you for that image. I wish I had a stack.
Hello. Oh, well, anyway, you can hear me, can't you? I do wish I had a Statue of Liberty cake in my tummy right this second. Okay, right. And we're going to go on to and this is Lucy Power, she, her, and this is trigger warning. And Lucy, can you all hear me, more or less?
And now you'll be able to hear me properly. Lucy is a poet, musician, and artist living in Manchester who originally trained as a fine artist, but when her multiple sclerosis began to limit her practice, she looked for other ways to make art. And so that's why we get to hear this tonight. And welcome, Lucy.
Yeah, that's fine, thank you. Could I just say there is a trigger warning on this in that it's about mental health. Sorry, sure. That's okay, it's fine. So this poem, I wrote it in response to witnessing a friend of mine going through a mental health episode, and it's part of a series of poems I wrote called The Bipolar Expedition, which sort of explains things. And the sonnet was inspired by the jargon used by health practitioners and the police. It's called Last Seen Getting on the Tram to Rochdale. He won't take his medication. Oh, sorry. If he won't take his medication, he will still believe he's well. He needs to be secure and safe. Somewhere we can assess his state. We'll make him take the pills he needs, sedate him whilst his mood's reviewed. He's ill, but there's no magic wand. It will take time. he will have abscond. But we'll find him, don't you fret. If he's sighted, we'll blue light it. Is he likely to resist arrest? And can you tell us how he's dressed? And the last time that you saw him, did he seem to be himself? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucy. And we have next reader is Ellen Dixon. And pronouns are it and its. Is there a trigger warning with this one? Okay. Okay. So get ready, you guys, to welcome Ellen Dixon. And before you do that, I will read a little bit from her bio. Again, if you've actually got the book, you'll be able to see all the wonderful things that they've all done. My name is Ellen. I live with my mom, dad, and cat in Bolton, Greater Manchester. I was born at 23 weeks and 3 days, and I was in hospital for 6 months before being discharged home, initially on oxygen. But let's welcome Ellen right now to share her work with you. Share it with you.
So this poem, I guess it's the right word. You know, when the words just flow through your brain and you're just a vessel for them. Yeah, that was it. So, and then this existed. I'm better now, and it doesn't feel like a big deal anymore, but I got diagnosed like a week beforehand, so it was a big deal back then. So, it's called What Is Wrong With Me? There are words for what is wrong with me, 4 to be exact, 2 of which I never say. Please, just live with that. Dyspraxia and autism, it's an unavoidable fact. Because of them, I'm different. Because of them, I can't fight back. 2 of them I just found out. The ones I still can't speak. Can't admit them about myself. They make me want to scream. I just won't let myself believe it. Why did this happen to me? I should probably save up for a therapy session, unless there is another way to fix anxiety and depression.
Thank you so much, Ellen, for sharing that with us. I really appreciate that. Again, hard-hitting work, you know, really coming from it's really coming from the souls, I feel. And tonight, unless I have missed somebody again, I think this is our last reader, Selena Halliwell, pronouns she, her, and the trigger warnings are suicide reference, sexual references, and swearing. And to give you just a tiny bit of background about Selena, if I can find it. Selena. So Selena Halliwell is a playwright, performer, and producer from Manchester, and her one-woman show, The Formidable Lizzie Boone, is touring the UK this year and won Best Producer 2021 at the Manchester Fringe Awards. So let's have a hand for our final reader, Selena Halliwell.
This is a monologue called Picket Fence from the perspective of a character called Annie. I do kind of relate to her, but it's not autobiographical. I was going to kill myself when I was 16. Funny that, isn't it? When everyone else was comparing eyeliner flicks and how many boys they kissed, I was like, overdose. Or noose. I didn't, obviously. And I'm glad. I've missed so much. Like everyone loves avocados now. And being ginger's actually kind of hot these days. And you don't actually have to be friends with people who treat you like shit. Who'd have thought? You can just cut them out of your life with your metaphorical scissors. Alcohol tastes good too. There's more than just £4 wine and a bottle of cheap cider to choose from. I'd never have known that if I'd snuffed it, would I? I would have died thinking I'd be remembered on MySpace. MySpace, not Facebook. I didn't even know about that. I didn't have a clue what highlighter could do to these cheekbones. God, I was so naive. I'd never tried a curry spicier than a korma, and I thought sex wouldn't get better than a quickie with Stephen Jameson on that grit box or on the back of the college porter cabins. Oh, what a deluded little angel. But I must have known. A part of me must have known about the beach holidays and the food and the laughter and the great sex. I mean, truly great. And, you know, getting absolutely smashed off Rome at raves and... Okay, listen, I'm not joking. Avocado on toast. It's everywhere. I don't have to eat it in shame anymore. All those hipster brunch places are serving it 24/7. It was more than that, though. I knew I would have been letting them win. Letting them walk all over me again. Literally, maybe, if they'd buried me, and fuck that. Do you know what I mean? I actually thought they mattered. I thought they were the entire universe. They're really not. The cosmos isn't littered with judgment, venomous comments, heartbreak, and bruises. It's my universe. And it's full of pleasure and parties and people who think I'm pretty. I didn't let them destroy me. I won't let anyone do that. My destruction will be on my own terms, thank you very much. I mean, if you can't live to spite other people, then what can you live for, eh? Yeah. 16-year-old me did good. She let me live.
Thank you so much, Selena. And can we have a hand for all of our wonderful writers tonight? Yes. And thank you all for joining us. Okay, now I'm going to do the thank yous. I am American. So, thanks to Martin DeMello, Charlotte Maxwell, Mish Green, and my co-artistic director, Peter Kalu, for editing this wonderful book. To Radhika and Shauna, there's more people, and Martin Krantz, and Roma Havers, and Andrew Brooks, and Becky Swain from the Poetry Library for helping putting tonight together. And thank you. And thank you to the Arts Council who give us our money. And to help us keep getting more money, Radhika and Shauna have got some feedback forms. If you really could, it's only a couple of minutes, and that really does help us get more funding. And if you haven't bought a book, you still have time. Buy the book, get it signed. There are loads of authors in the room. So thank you all. Oh, poor Pete, he really wants to go. Okay, thank you everybody. Buy a book. If there's still stuff to eat back there, get it. Thank you.
And huge thank you to Cheryl for hosting tonight's event. It's no feat remembering all of the names of all the organizations. So, thank you very much.
Oh, lovely.